On the evening of March 3rd, 2021, London moved the way it always did after dark, quiet but alert, restrained by pandemic rules yet still breathing with life. Streets were lit, buses passed at regular intervals, and people walked with purpose, eager to get home. Among them was 33-year-old Sarah Everard, a marketing executive, a daughter, a friend, and a woman doing nothing more dangerous than walking home. She had spent the evening visiting a friend and was making her way from Clapham toward Brixton, a route she had walked before, a route many women walked every day. At approximately 9 p.m., she appeared on a security camera, her phone in hand, her pace steady. That brief image would become the last confirmed sighting of Sarah alive. When Sarah did not arrive home, concerns set in quickly. This was not like her. She was responsible, communicative, and careful, especially during a time when COVID-19 restrictions had altered daily routines. Her family contacted police, and what began as a missing person report soon escalated into one of the largest and most intense search operations in recent British history. Officers combed through CCTV footage, public transport records, phone data, and witness statements, tracing Sarah's final movements minute by minute. The nation watched closely, hoping for her safe return, fearing the alternative. As investigators reconstructed her route, something deeply unsettling emerged. There was no footage of Sarah being dragged into a vehicle, no signs of struggle in a dark alley, no frantic movements suggesting she sensed immediate danger. Instead, the evidence pointed to something far more disturbing. Sarah had stopped walking because someone had stopped her, and not just anyone. The man who approached her was Wayne Couzens, an active-duty Metropolitan Police officer. He was not off-duty, nor was he acting as a private citizen. He used his position, his authority, and the symbols of law enforcement to gain her compliance. Couzens exploited the strict COVID-19 lockdown rules that governed daily life at the time. Wearing plain clothes, but carrying his police identification and handcuffs, he told Sarah she was in violation of lockdown regulations. To Sarah, this explanation made sense. The rules were confusing, heavily enforced, and widely publicized. She had no reason to doubt a police officer who appeared calm, professional, and legitimate. Trusting the system she had been taught to trust her entire life, Sarah complied. She allowed herself to be handcuffed and escorted into his vehicle. That moment, quiet, procedural, outwardly lawful, sealed her fate. What followed was a calculated and predatory crime carried out by a man who understood precisely how to manipulate perception and authority. Couzens drove Sarah out of London, away from cameras, away from witnesses, away from any chance of intervention. He took her to a remote wooded area in Kent, a place chosen not by accident, but by design. There, he raped and murdered her. A police officer, sworn to protect the public, used his badge as a weapon and his uniform as camouflage. For days, Sarah's disappearance dominated headlines and conversations. Women across the UK retraced her steps, asking themselves what they would have done differently. Even as the grim truth became unavoidable, Sarah had done everything right. She was cautious. She stayed in public spaces. She followed the law, and she trusted the police. The problem was not her behavior. The problem was that the system she relied on failed catastrophically. On March 10th, 2021, 1 week after Sarah vanished, her remains were found in woodland near Ashford, Kent. The discovery confirmed the worst fears of her family and a nation that had been holding its breath. Shortly thereafter, Wayne Couzens was arrested. Faced with overwhelming evidence, he confessed. The details that emerged were harrowing, but what shook the public most was not just the brutality of the crime. It was who committed it. The court proceedings were swift and devastating. Prosecutors laid out how Couzens had abused his position, how he had planned the abduction, and how he had deliberately exploited Sarah's trust in law enforcement. The judge described the crime as a profound betrayal, not only of Sarah and her family, but of the public, the police force, and the very idea of safety. This was not a crime of passion or impulse. It was a premeditated act carried out by someone who understood power and chose to abuse it. Wayne Couzens was sentenced to a whole life order, meaning he will never be released from prison. It is the harshest sentence available under British law, reserved for the most extreme cases. In delivering the sentence, the judge emphasized that Couzens' actions had destroyed trust on a national scale. Women across the country had been forced to confront a terrifying reality. Even compliance, even obedience, even trust could not guarantee safety. Sarah Everard's murder ignited protests, vigils, and a reckoning. Thousands gathered in Clapham Common to mourn her, holding candles, sharing stories, and demanding change. Her name became a symbol, not just of loss, but of systemic failure. Conversations erupted about women's safety, police accountability, and the imbalance of power that allows predators to hide in plain sight. Sarah was not killed because she was reckless or careless. She was killed because she trusted the wrong man in the wrong uniform. In the end, Sarah Everard's story is not only about a single horrific crime. It is about how authority can be weaponized, how trust can be exploited, and how the most dangerous threats are sometimes the ones society tells us to trust without question. On that March evening, Sarah was simply trying to get home. She never made it. And in that quiet, devastating fact lies a truth that continues to haunt the United Kingdom and far beyond. Safety is not just about rules, lighting, or awareness. It is about accountability, integrity, and ensuring that those entrusted with power are never allowed to use it to destroy the very people they are meant to protect.